Well, that music gave us a heck of a start to the day. Thank you, Lisa. I'm Reverend Amy Petrie Shaw, and I am your worship team entire today. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Venice, which we love to call UCOV. Here we strive to be a beacon of liberal religion, and no matter who you are, where you're from, who you love, you are so welcome here, and we're so glad to see you. Now, I have just a couple of announcements. Next week, we will be celebrating Easter, so please feel free to wear your best hats for an Easter bonnet parade. Gentlemen, you are also welcome to engage in bonnet or hat wearing, so please bring your best. There will be a Q&A session in the sanctuary after the service today to answer questions related to the budget, as well as any other topics that are going to be voted on during the annual meeting this coming Saturday. We'll start the Q&A session 15 minutes after the close of the service, so you got time to go get some coffee and a cookie, come on back in, ask your questions, make sure you understand everything we're voting on. So please come back in and ask your questions. Now, speaking of questions, I've had a few questions this week about our recent staffing transition, and I wanted to answer them really quickly. I am open to answering questions by email or phone call too, so if you have more questions, feel free to call me. We did remove the RE coordinator and worship coordinator positions this past week. We did that because those positions were not financially viable for us as a congregation. It didn't make sense to pay a full-time staff member for a program with so few children, and to pay a worship coordinator when that is a role that volunteers normally take on. It made us sad to see Kathy go. She will be getting a severance package from the church. We are doing the best we can for her and for this congregation. Over the early fall or late summer, beginning then, the board will be listening to you, having some listening sessions about what it is you want from your RE program, how it should be structured, how it should be marketed, what it should look like. So be prepared for those coming up in the fall. There has been some misinformation that's out there spreading around, so I want to kind of stomp on that a little. Are you still allowed to teach adult RE classes? Sure. There will just not be a staffing coordinator to assist you with that. So if there's a class that you are teaching, you got to go directly through Eileen in the office to schedule it and coordinate with Eileen if there's emails you need to go out or something you need to happen. There's just not a staff person to coordinate that for you. So if you're teaching, you can go right on teaching. Just coordinate with the office. Do we have childcare right now? We do not right now. Hopefully we will get that resolved and have a couple folks doing childcare and play. We will get that worked out, but right now we don't. So if you have other questions, please give me a holler, give me a call, give me an email, and I'll walk you through that. Oh, and the last one, is Astrid Linda falling apart and is the roof leaking? No, it's not. We're going to have to replace that roof in a year or two, we think. And don't quote me on that. I'd have to get the board to give us exact dates, but it's coming up. It's a scheduled replacement, but it's an expensive one. So it's going to make us talk about what we really want to use that building for, because it's vastly underused right now. So that's going to be in our consciousness over the next year. Does anyone have any other pressing announcements I have to deal with right now? All right, seeing none, we are going to head bravely forward. We light our chalice this morning to honor our fifth principle, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregation and society at large. Today we're talking about democracy and why this is one of our sacred values, and we're talking about the power of us, the power of Unitarian Universalists and their congregations. These opening words are from Invocation by Reverend Kristen G. Schmidt. Spirit of life, who knows each of us by name, yet is beyond all naming, ground of being, always changing, always becoming, out of the cusp between us and what could be, Spirit of becoming, in this hour we spend together, remind us of how far we've come and how far love and justice are calling us to go. Come and let us worship here together. Our first hymn this morning is number 347, Gather the Spirit. Please rise as you are willing and able, and join in singing number 347. Our offering words today are offered with levity because, as always, giving shouldn't hurt. The local Baptist minister was going past George's place, where George was working outside on his garden. Now, George, a lifelong UU and atheist, was very proud of his garden, which he had created out of an ugly tangle of pucker brush and downed palm trees. And it showed. The lovely manicured lanes were perfect. The flowers were gorgeous. All of the shell paths were raked. And the minister said, "Lovely garden you got there, George. You can see God's work there." And George smiled and he leaned back on his rake. He said, "Well, you should have seen the mess when he was the only one working it." The Lord may be amazing, but it is human hands that get the work done. The morning offering will now be given and gratefully received. Thank you so much for these gifts and for absolutely everything you all do for the life and the work of this community. Because the church isn't the building, it is the people. And it's as a community of human hands and human hearts that we come together here to share laughter and tears. So we're entering into a time of sharing our joys and concerns. If you have something to share, please raise a hand and someone will bring you a microphone. Please share information only with permission. As always, at any time, any other time before or during the service, you can come up and light a candle at the candle table. During Joys and Concerns, I will light for you. So if anyone has a joy or concern, please raise a hand. Wow, you're a quiet bunch this week.
Well, seeing none. Oh, is this on?
It's on. Test.
Testing. Okay. Just a joy that last night I went to a performance at the West Coast Black Theater Company of a show, a world premiere on a topic called Ruby. I went with Pat Wellington, Tom Reeves, and a friend. And I highly recommend it. If you've never been to the West Coast Black Theater, it's an amazing theater and tremendous actors, tremendous performances. Ruby is outstanding and highlights what blacks have been suffering for years in this country and in the South. So highly recommended.
Hi. I have a joy that my son in 2003 created a paper game while an intern for Hasbro. And I found out that yesterday he was playing with his daughter who was 3 years old, that game. And it just amazed me that creativity and whatever could go on, and I'm so happy for him.
What's it called?
It was, remember what were those guys' names? It was 2003. You got to understand.
I also have a joy in that a piece of music that Richard and I commissioned for the new ensemble SRQ is being performed tomorrow. We went to the rehearsal yesterday. I met the very young man who was the composer. He's still a student at Yale. It's new music. If you don't know what new music is, it's like classical music written by people who are now and still alive. Most of them. Some died a little while ago, but most of them still alive. And the thing is, I tell people, you know, if you lived in the 1600s, Mozart would have been new music, and most of you would have hated it.
Hi, I'm Louis Massaro. I'd like to light a candle of sorrow. My cousin Paula died this week, and she was my last cousin on my father's side of my family. And we found out that myself and my two brothers and my sister are the last ones in my family. And it's a heartbreak.
My mother, who has tongue cancer, started radiation. She's gone through a week and a half, and she's already having symptoms. She's 88 years old, so please keep her in your thoughts. Thank you.
I just wanted to express my concern about the appalling and unjustified situation that the people in Gaza find themselves in. I think it's incredible that in our modern civilized world, people are allowed to suffer the way they are suffering.
And may the light of our community shine on the broken places of the world. May we never look away when we're needed. May those who are grieving be comforted and those who are tired find rest. May the broken places be healed, and may those who are filled with joy and laughter be abundant. And Anna, I'm going to ask you to come on up. Now, our community wouldn't exist if it wasn't for new members, so can I get a round of applause for Annie Harrison, who is the head of our new member committee? Done a stunning job so far this year. Today, we are going to formally welcome and covenant with the 10 new members who've recently joined us in beloved communities. So would any of the new members who are here and willing please come up and join me as I read your name. Jean Barlow, Judy Chisholm, Elliot Dolan, Anna Dralius, Hector Malave, Carl Schwartz. All right, Connie. Connie Sokolowski, Kathy Tracy, Diane Waters, and Marty Wilmer. Come on up. How about a round of applause for them? Here in this place, people have gathered looking for a higher purpose and a deeper life than they ever could have found alone, and we're grateful today for each and every one of you. We're grateful that you found your way here and that you've decided to make a commitment to this faith community. And we hope that as a member of this community, you'll allow yourselves to know and be known, to minister to and be ministered unto, to love and be loved by this congregation. We never really know what combination of fate and friendship and good luck it is that brings certain people together in this world. But we believe that membership calls each of us here to celebrate the faith that has drawn us together, to regard each one a spiritual friend and potential teacher, even of the occasional hard lessons. And the relationships we form here are based on the needs of the heart, needs that render each of us vulnerable and therefore reliant on each other's grace and goodness and generosity of spirit. As members, we pledge to be guardians of each other's spirits, to respect the ultimate privacy of each one's human struggle, and to believe in each one's inherent dignity.
I'm Ann Harrison, and I'm here today representing the membership committee. As we come together, we recognize that each member contributes to our religious organization, supporting the life and work of the community. Together, we make this a vital and dynamic congregation, working for positive change in ourselves and the world.
It's all about democracy with the UU congregation, and a member of a Unitarian Universalist congregation makes a free choice to join their life with that of a religious community. If you, the new members standing here with me now, are ready to affirm that choice, we're going to have you repeat in unison the words on the sheet that you were given. So if you're ready, let's begin. I am ready.
Can we clap?
We can clap.
It is the joy and duty of our congregation to welcome you into this community. Would the members of the congregation please read in unison the words of covenant and welcome included on the sheet in your order of service?
We welcome you among us,
and we invite you to join us in the life and work of this community. In the bonds of fellowship and love, we unite to cultivate reverence, to promote spiritual growth and ethical commitment, to minister to each other's needs and to those of humanity, to celebrate the sacred moments of life's passage, and to honor the holiness of community.
As symbols of this welcome, we offer you the right hand of fellowship and a small gift because we are so glad that you are here. And Annie has those for you. Thank you all so much. And how about another round of applause? Thank you, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And scooch on in so we can get a picture. All right, thank you all. I'm going to ask now that the Legacy Friends folks, Mark Murray, Tom Boyd, John Spitzer, and Joel Morrison. I think, Mark, you wanted to start? Okay.
So hello, I'm Mark Murray. We've been working the past year on getting updated on our Legacy Friends, and first of all, I want to thank Reverend Amy for the support that she has given us during this time. We represent the continuing UCOV tradition of Legacy Friends. The UCOV Legacy Friends program is designed to honor those who have included UCOV in their estate plans or have made donations to the Legacy Friends program here at UCOV. The purpose of Legacy Friends is to support the mission of UCOV into the future and preserve this beacon of liberal, inclusive religion in Venice for future generations. First, a bit of the past. It all started with Asta Linder, a charter member of this congregation. A gift from her estate to UCOV inspired the purchase of the property we now enjoy as our UCOV home. She, like other UCOVers, made donations both by estate planning and by gifts to Legacy Friends during their lifetime so that UU values and ideals can live on for future generations. This is what the Legacy Friends is all about. There are 4 easy ways to ensure a strong future for UCOV, 2 of which are Legacy Friends donations. First and foremost, we all support our annual budget drive to cover our daily overhead. We also have a wish list at the office for projects approved by our board but are not currently in our budget. This support is essential to UCOV, but it is not a part of Legacy Friends. Legacy Friends has 2 forms of support. First is the endowment fund, which supports UCOV in perpetuity. We are limited to drawing 4% annually from the balance of this fund at year end. As this account grows, so does our annual income grow. Currently, this endowment fund has a balance of approximately $450,000. The Futures Fund is the other Legacy Friends account. The earnings from this fund can be used primarily for legacy projects such as buildings. As well, this fund may be made available to UCOV for extraordinary reasons when approved by both the Finance Committee and the Board. This fund currently has a balance of around $130,000. Both funds are managed by the UCOV Finance Committee and provide support for UCOV now and into the future. So we have covered 4 ways to support UCOV, 2 of which are Legacy Friends. When you make a decision to donate to Legacy Friends, either with a current contribution or with planned giving, you will be recognized as a Legacy Friend along with over 40 other UCOV donors. As well, when donations are received, you will be added to our list and the tapestry at the rear of the church, should you desire. We are working on updating and correcting the list at this time, so bear with us. By the way, visitors who are here or non-members, we would love to have you be Legacy Friends. You do not need to be a member to support the Legacy Friends group. I would like to offer the microphone to Tom Boyd, a member of the Legacy Friends Committee, to tell us why Legacy Friends support is essential to the future of UCOV. Tom?
Thanks, Mark. My name is Tom Voigt. My wife and Wendy and I have been UCOV members for over 10 years. Here's my 60-second spot for Legacy Friends. First of all, Legacy Friends has nothing to do with year-end pledges. There should be no pressure to participate in Legacy Friends. It's an extra opportunity to give back to the church for the long term. I am a strong believer in endowments, in what they can do for a church, a school, a nonprofit, and a community. Legacy Friends is UCOV's endowment fund, Legacy Friends is UCOV's future. In my lifetime, I was fortunate to serve on a community foundation from its inception. I saw the group give away its first $100. Since then, the Bryan Area Foundation, in a little town of 8,000, has given back to the community $17.9 million in gifts, and assets are at $38.6 million. Since the very beginning, not one penny of the donor's original gift has been spent. It is also my past experience that churches often don't do a good job establishing a strong endowment, for many reasons. Won't go into those. However, UCOV's Legacy Friends seems to be the exception, with nearly $600,000 in the fund. That's a wonderful start. Started in 2004 by Dick May, we've had great leadership. After Dick, Dale Pullmeyer was Legacy Friends chairman, followed by Nancy Ryder and John Spitzer. Mark Murray, as you know, is our current chairman. I am hopeful that our Legacy Friends will grow and be a solid financial anchor for UCOV well past my lifetime and into the future. Legacy Friends could be a game changer at UCOV. Thank you.
Well, this will be a little shorter, but certainly to say that we believe in what Thomas just said. Bev and I retired and built a house in Venice as snowbirds in 2004. We knew very few people, and after looking around our neighborhood and Venice, we discovered UCOV. UCOV gave us the set of friends and activities that we needed to enjoy our retirement. It is only reasonable then that as we look ahead, we feel good in mentioning UCOV in our will, and we want UCOV to be available to future retirees just as it has been to us. Thank you.
I'm John Spitzer. Jean and I joined Legacy Friends about 7 years ago, and Jean wasn't able to come this morning. She at home, so hi dear, good to see you. We joined because of the values and the mission that UCOV has. We support that in the annual giving, but we would like to see it spread. We'd like to see it spread in the community, the county, the state, the country, and also through time. And that spreading of the mission and values through time is what the Legacy Friends are all about. So that's why we are in it.
And we will be passing out a brochure as you leave here. We appreciate if you would take one home and keep it someplace where you can look at it again. So probably a lot of you have conflicting priorities regarding your decisions about how best to leave your legacy in the world. We ask that you consider UCOV and feel free to join your fellow UCOVers in making a commitment to support the values and traditions that we hold dear here at UCOV. Please do not wait. Do it now by taking home our brochure at the entrance, and feel free to contact anyone on our committee as you might want additional information about how to get this to happen in your lives. I'd like at this time to ask all of our Legacy Friends members to stand up, please, and be recognized. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And thank you to each and every one of our current Legacy Friends members. You're amazing. This is what our democracy is about, making choices about what our legacy will be. Our words for meditation today are From the Heart of Democracy by Quaker writer Parker Palmer. Of all the tensions we must hold in personal and political life, perhaps the most fundamental and most challenging is standing and acting with hope in the tragic gap. One side of that gap, we see the hard realities of the world, realities that can crush our spirits and defeat our hopes. On the other side of that gap, we see real-world possibilities. Life as we know it could be because we have seen it that way. Holding those words in mind, please join me for 1 minute of silent thought or meditation or prayer. Our reading today is called The Hill We Climb, and it's by Amanda Gorman. That is the promise to Glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare it, because being American is more than a pride that we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, that would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can periodically be delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith, we trust. For while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption we feared in its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour. But within it, we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves, so that while once we ask, how can we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? Those are some amazing words that young lady wrote. In the interest of time, I'm going to skip the center hymn. I'm sorry if you were looking forward to it with all your heart. We didn't get to do Power Sunday back in September when a lot of churches were doing it. And several folks had asked me if I would please speak to it today. Power Sunday was a service created by the UUA to talk about the fact that democracy matters. It really, really matters. You know, we live in a time where the very fabric of democracy is being tested. We've witnessed the rise of authoritarianism, the spread of misinformation, the erosion of trust in our institutions. Yet it is in these challenging times that our UU theology of democracy becomes even more critical. We're called to bear witness to the power of love over fear, of community over isolation, of hope over despair. And you saw some of that today when you saw new members joining a church and saying, I want to be part of something good. You saw that today when you saw folks saying, I'm a legacy friend. I want to dare to endow a church to go forward into the future. I have hope. I have faith that my choices will make a difference. So you saw some of that today. And we're talking today about the power of the congregations to help preserve and to teach democracy. This is the power of us in action. And I don't know about you all, but when I was a small child, I was taught that America was the greatest country that had ever been. Were any of you taught that? America. American exceptionalism. We were amazing. We were braver and faster and wiser and more free. We had freedom by the spoonful. We even put a man on the moon, and we did that as a democracy. And I was proud of my country. I still am. I still have hope for us. We weren't a pure democracy. We never have been. We did better after the Voting Rights Act of 1965, where inclusion at the ballot box finally happened and became the law of the land. I want to talk now about the sermon written by Reverend Peggy Clark, and Peggy delivered this sermon for Power Sunday for the UUA. And she wrote some really amazing things. She said, "Our system of government, standing on a strong foundation of law, has had the full support of our nation's people and our institutions, creating what we thought was an unbreakable network, ensuring equal access to our founding promise of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But things have changed. Petty fights and infighting have become common, along with government shutdowns." Reverend Clark says, "Strong, healthy democracies require what we call a civil society. Civil society connects all of the voluntary organizations where people gather, autonomous from the state. These groups might have some state support or functioning or interaction, but they're independent of state control, like a church. They have their own agendas, they have their own goals, they're concerned with public ends, but they aren't seeking state power. They exist for many reasons, but one is to influence law and culture and the ways we live together. They're a part of the larger piece of community living, valuing pluralism, inclusion, and a wide range of experience and thought. The organizations that populate civil society include educators who advocate for curriculum development to train the next generation of thinkers and leaders, librarians who ensure access to diversity, workers who leverage collective power to ensure fair wages. Civil society includes museums that preserve our history, dance companies that celebrate self-expression, and community theaters where new philosophies are given language and an audience. You think about how connected we are to all those things. Our Right to Read Festival, our folks commissioning new music, coming together here to be in community." Peggy writes, "Cults aren't a part of civil society because they want to separate people from the mainstream, and yoga groups don't generally qualify because they have no interest in influencing public life. But churches do. So all of our UU organizations, like the Ministry for Earth, State Action Networks, UUSJ, UU The Voice on the Hill, all these institutions are part of the fabric of civil society, without that, we don't have an authentic democracy. Now, scholars tell us that democracies don't collapse because of one single influential person. They collapse because the people who should know better align themselves with the stronger, more dangerous personalities. They themselves aren't fascist, oh no. They're not communist or extremist. They're just too weakly committed to democracy and are ultimately opportunists who say what they think they need to say to keep power. Civil society is one of the key levers to keep these people in check. Groups that are themselves run democratically, giving everyone the experience of having a voice and a vote, with deep membership rosters of concerned and engaged citizens, or public forums for open discussion, they become the counterbalance to these kinds of self-serving individuals. These organizations create occasions for influence and can reward opportunists with the popularity or power they seek without requiring them to compromise their commitment to democratic systems. Now, totalitarian nations, as you may be well aware, have no civil society. The more civil society is in a country, the more democratic it can be. There are few very fully totalitarian nations, but we can see these systems of government increase as civil society decreases. North Korea, China. China used to be complete, but civil society is growing there. When nations like Russia want to increase governmental control, they shut down parts of civil society, as does every autocrat trying to consolidate his power. Voluntary organizations are a crucial part of any healthy, vibrant, transparent, and legitimate democratic system. We can determine the vitality of a democracy by the integration of these groups in the fabric of a nation. And faith-based organizations are some of the most difficult to terminate because they are seen as the moral centers of the community. Shutting them down forces the government to admit a lack of concern with morality, an act most citizens find alarming. Instead, many authoritarian regimes work to befriend religious organizations, seeking to align religious power with their own. And we can see that happening here in the U.S. with the evangelical churches. Some have become supporters of the most dangerous factions in our current system. And this makes our own position as a liberal religious denomination all the more necessary. We continue to have the moral authority to counter the current trajectory and can stand against the wave of conservative religious alignment. Our existence, our internal health and strength, it's a part of what will turn the tide of American democratic legitimacy. It is our witness to pluralism, an embrace of science, our own democratic structures, our collective voices for change, for choice, for education, for inclusion, that right now makes us important at this moment in history. Sadly, this comes at a time when religion is on a steep decline in American culture. All churches have seen a dramatic drop in attendance. We're not alone in free fall. And as liberal religion declines in national influence, so does American democracy. These things are not unrelated. Just as people are turning away from institutional religion, the demons of authoritarianism are gaining ground. When moral centers lose influence and can no longer claim to be our collective conscience, it's easy for alternatives to take root. Our voices may have gotten weaker, but we are not inaudible. There are close to 200,000 people in UU churches. We've not given up our space at the table nor our moral authority, even if the tide of totalitarianism hopes to wash over us. Just the fact that a service like Power Sunday exists is proof that we're still here and we're still kicking. Scholars may tell us that American democracy is deconsolidating, but it is far from collapse. The system is holding, even though it is challenged. UU congregations can step into our moral authority in partnership with each other and other religious movements against the tide of authoritarianism. We are building collective power. We are not alone. And in this fragile moment, we have strength. What I personally would say is it all begins here within our congregations. When we recognize each other's voices, when we make space for everyone to be heard, when we plan for the future, when we work together to steer our UUA, we are practicing the democracy we need to make our country whole. The power of us can move mountains if only we work together, and it starts here. One vote at a time, so make your voice heard. Amen. We extinguish this chalice, but not the fire of commitment which calls us to work together to make this world a better place. Please rise in body or spirit as you are willing and join in singing our final hymn today, number 168. One more step. One more step. We will take one more step. It's peace for us and everyone. Will take one more step. One more word. We will say one more word till every word is heard by everyone. Say one more word. One more prayer. We'll say one more prayer till every prayer is shared by everyone. One more prayer. One more song. We'll say one more song till every song is sung by everyone. Sing one more. Go in love to help one another's voices be heard. May you be brave enough to make a difference, one vote at a time. Peace, ashe, and may it be so. And please remember today, 15 minutes and then come back in so you can ask your questions, because next week, next Saturday is the annual meeting.